Hi everyone in English 20 through 23, it's Dr. E and I'm here with your week 1 instructional video. So welcome. At this point there are 2 other videos that you should have watched. So the first would be the kind of welcome and D2L walkthrough where I just go through all the various areas of D2L that we utilize regularly in this course. And then the second video is kind of a brief glance at the syllabus where I hit on a few things. Of course, I ask you to read the document on your own when you have a chance. So if you haven't, go ahead and pause, make sure you've watched those videos. Don't watch all the videos at once. That's just a little too much of me at one time, just saying. So come back when you are able. So these weekly videos are just that. Every week I will have something where I walk through where to go, what to do, cover the expectations for the course, show you the assignment guidelines, the expectations, all of that good stuff. I do want you to note that this class is set up week to week, right? So I typically have things ready to go for the week starting around Saturday or Sunday before the week begins. I am not a person who gets weeks in advance taken care of. I just don't function that way. My mind doesn't work that way. So if you need that kind of pace or that kind of approach to be successful as a student, if you know that about yourself, then this may not be the course for you. I would hate to lose you, but I also understand like these are decisions we have to make to be be successful in a course, right? So just so that you know this in advance. I do, however, have a weekly kind of set deadline of Monday by noon for uploading any information for that week. So typically it's well in advance of noon on that Monday, but should things arise, whatever the case may be, know that everything will be visible and ready to go at the latest noon on Mondays. Okay, let me jump right into the course and kind of walk through everything. So this is what our course of course looks like. Remember, we have any announcements here, our 365 and Teams widget here, as well as just a quick kind of visual table of contents. So just keep in mind, always start here when it comes to D2L for our course. All right, I'm heading straight up to the content area where we essentially spend all of our time. So if you click on that, you'll see our table of contents on the left-hand side. Please take the time to just click around and see what's going on here. It's a lot of information at once, so I don't expect everything to just come naturally just yet, but clicking through things will definitely help with your familiarity. Look at the book information and readings, look at all the things that are posted here. I want you to note that when it comes to the syllabus schedule and rubrics, I typically have all the rubrics for the assignments for the semester ready to go there, but I have overhauled quite a bit when it comes to our assignments. So if it looks a little bare, a little barren in there, please note that those are forthcoming. They'll be there. And of course, before anything is due, I will go over those expectations with you. You'll have handouts. You'll have all of that kind of stuff. Just something to be aware of. There's a student success module that you may find helpful, but I want you to again just know that these things are here. There's a whole section on technology support. Of course, this is doubling up some of the information you can find in Start Here. I think redundancy kind of helps in these courses. If you can find it in one place, there are also a few other places you can find the information. There's a section on academic support. There's a section on bonus events, that kind of thing, writing strategies, all of this kind of stuff. There is a module on D2L and Tech Help and MLA as well. So the D2L and Tech Help is pretty important just because it has the general how-tos when it comes to technology, but it also has, a link to VLAC. Remember that if you scroll up and click on support, that's get used to all of that, right? And get used to where to find some of it. I have taken most of these links from VLAC, right? So you can find all of this there, but I've tried to kind of identify the most useful ones or the most commonly asked, topics. I've put them all here. So just be aware of that. And then we get to our first weekly module. So if you click on week 1, this is taken directly from our course schedule, right? This should start to look very familiar. Every week will look like this. It's broken down on Monday. Everything is visible and available, so I just list those things here. Thursday and Sunday are our due dates for the course. So, start to set up those calendar reminders if you need to. Thursdays and Sundays are always going to be those days for us in this class, 11:59 p.m. always. So just be aware. Okay, so everything is listed here for Monday. The intro video, weekly syllabus videos posted. There is a prompt for a discussion post. Mind map assignment is visible and available. The weekly quiz is available. And then we have a course survey, but it's not due until next week. I just wanted it to be there so some of you want to kind of hit the ground running and get this, some things out of the way if possible. That's also why I put for next week. So we don't have any reading or any of that due this week, but if you want to kind of work on getting ahead a little bit, then for next week, these are the things that we're going to touch on. And to access our book, if you go up to the book information and additional readings, this is what This is what our book essentially looks like, the digital version. And you just go to student book access. And if you run into any issues, there's that link to the Norton website where the Norton technology folks can help you, because typically any issues you experience with our book, it's not a D2L problem, it's a Norton problem. So just FYI. So this is how our text will open up eventually. Let me pause here. Have some sort of agreement or something that you have to, click to continue. But if you have the star bundle, of course, this is included. And so it's broken down into the different volumes. And so we're starting with the romantic period. Lordy. I'm going to pause again. Opening up the romantic period, but on the left-hand side is where you navigate. So you have your table of contents that will expand out. You hit the arrow, and that's how you go to find the different readings for that particular volume. I'll touch more on this, when we have required reading. We don't have required reading this week. I'm just running through this briefly to show those of you who may want to work ahead a little bit, though that is absolutely not a requirement. Because the first week is really overwhelming already. It's just about getting used to things. So don't feel like you have to jump into all this just yet. Okay, so again, we have everything available. So your discussion post is due Thursday. You can see that that's worth 5 points. We're starting with really small, low stakes assignment points. And then as we get more confident and comfortable in the course, those points will start to increase substantially throughout the course of the semester. So that's Thursday. By Sunday, you will respond to at least 2 colleagues for the discussion. I want you to note though that when you see these plus points here, that means that it is not required. It is not required when you see those plus signs. That will be relevant for things like quizzes. Just saying. Okay, so of course, to earn those points, you need to respond fully, show that you're engaging with ideas, that kind of thing. So 5 possible bonus points there. Your mind map is going to be 5 points, and then you have a quiz. And those quizzes are just essentially, information, and some videos have information. So this week, make sure you watch all the videos because there are questions from each of them. But then moving forward, it's a lot of, reading-based questions and things of that nature. Okay. So if we scroll down, remember that this doesn't mean anything. This percentage just means that you visited these different topics. The check marks don't necessarily mean anything, but you visit the topics. So don't be fooled by any of this. I don't know why they do it in D2L. There's always going to be a link to the Q&A discussion board here. So if you have any questions, feel free to jump in there and ask them. But you can also, if you feel confident, answer one another's questions there. So you're watching what will essentially be number 3. Make sure you've watched numbers 1 and 2 here for the videos. Every week will be broken down in this way. You'll have a section that's titled to watch, a section to review, and then a section to do. Okay, so watch everything here. These are materials to review and just kind of go through and get familiar with overall. And then you have the to-do section right here. So the first thing is your discussion post. And I've gone through all the instructions are here, so just take your time to read through them. I always recommend that when it comes to discussion posts that you compose your ideas in like Microsoft Word, just so that you can of course use the grammar and spelling check features, which are really nice, but it also ensures that D2L can sometimes time out. You don't want to lose any of your writing. So putting them in Microsoft Word and then copying and pasting them into the text box is really helpful. You can also use Grammarly. Grammarly has elements of AI, of course, because it's offering suggestions, it's offering corrections, but it's not writing everything for us. I do recommend that you utilize it just as a way to revise and edit before submission. We have these tools that can be helpful. Why not use them? I'm not saying we should jump into ChatGPT to do all of our work, of course not. But if we have these resources that can just help make sure that our ideas are written effectively and clear, then we can take advantage of those, right? Okay, so going into, we have the instructions here. I want you to start a new thread and use your name and preferred pronouns if you'd like, and just answer these questions. You can list number 1 through 6, you know, if you'd like. When you start a new thread, that's where you would put your name and pronouns if you'd like, and then you just offer the information. You can add the image as, you know, assigned. There's an informational document about how to use an image, and then click post. I've included my own introduction here just as an example. I don't share this so that you respond to it. I mean, of course, I welcome anybody who would like to respond to my introduction, but it's here as an example just to kind of show you how, you know, to answer the questions to post, but also understand, you know, I'm an English professor, so I'm a little bit wordier than you need to be. So just be aware of that. You don't have to have super long responses. It's just a way for us to get to know one another, because we are in this digital space. It can feel like we're a bit disconnected, and I don't want it to feel that way if we can form, you know, a bond and a sense of community through some of these exchanges. Okay. Now I want you to note that the first question asks for your name. So if I go back to the actual discussion, let me see. I'm going to jump back. What is your preferred name? Now, sometimes people will answer things like, well, my family calls me this, or, you know, some of my friends call me that. That's great, but what do you want us to call you in the course, right? When we are composing our ideas and directing to you or responding to you, what name should we be utilizing? So you can change your preferred name in D2L, which I really hope all of you do if you'd like to, because we want to be referring to one another in the ways that we choose, right? In the ways that we'd like, right? And that also includes the pronouns as well. But again, pronouns aren't a requirement. They're just a suggestion, which I hope you take us up on. Okay, so that is our discussion post. I'm going to scroll up and go back. So I'm just toggling through things with this. I like to go all the way back to the whole week 1 module. And so that was the discussion post due on Thursday, and then we have 2 things that are due on Sunday. So if we go back down to the to-do section, we have a mind map, and this is meant to be kind of a visual way for us to organize our ideas. I do have a very general template, but I want us to look at our syllabus and break it down, our specific syllabus, and I want you to choose 4 of the main sections or ideas that you find the most important as a student. I'm not looking for anything specific here. I just want to know what is important to you. And so this is what that basic mind map looks like. So you would put syllabus right here, and you delete this and type in what you think is important from our syllabus. You just want 4 ideas, okay? You don't have to use that template. You can certainly use something from Canva or MindMap or any of these other programs that put together, you know, a visual representation of ideas, and then you would just upload them, and then you would click submit, right? And D2L actually sends you a confirmation when you successfully submitted something, so that's nice, you know, so we don't stress out too much about that. And the final thing is that there's a quiz, and that goes over everything for this week, and we'll do so every other week. I'll also have a checklist set up. I had it, I don't know why it's not visible, that you can use as your own resource. It doesn't count for anything. It doesn't automatically submit anything for you. It's just a resource for you that you might find helpful. All right, good luck this week. Let me know what you need, and welcome to the course.